The Realme 8 Pro launched at a particularly good time for me because I had just spent some quality time with its arch rival, the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. So while this video is gonna be mainly focused on the Realme 8 Pro, those Redmi versus Realme comparisons, they might sneak in there. With that out of the way, let me welcome all of you to our review of the Realme 8 Pro. By the way, I'm outta, and if you're enjoying the new direction that the channel is taking, then please hit that bell icon and subscribe. It really does help us out a lot. Say what you will about the design of the Realme 8 Pro, the one thing that you can't call it is steel. Coming from the slippery and fingerprinty Note 10 Pro Max, I really like the textured finish on the 8 Pro. Yes, it is plastic and not glass, so that premium feel, it's not there. But then take a look at this. The Dare to Leap logo glows in the dark. Now, Realme has come up with really fancy names. This variant here is called Illuminating Yellow. The blue one goes by Infinite Blue, and the black, well, no prizes for guessing, that's Infinite Black. Gradient designs have been around for a good couple of years now, but even then, companies are finding new ways of implementing it. It may be an all-plastic build here, but the Realme 8 Pro looks gorgeous. Even the sides have the gradient finish to them. And then there's the in-hand feel. The back feels grippy, the sides are slim, and overall, I felt it was much easier to wield. So imagine my surprise when I checked the spec sheet and found that the Realme 8 Pro is just as thick as the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, and the difference in weight, it's a mere 15 grams. So call me biased, call me paid, whatever, but the Realme 8 Pro really did feel easier to wield. And that's just the dang truth. And what else is the dang truth is that this display, it just doesn't hold up. Okay, so in a vacuum, what we have here is great. A 6.4-inch Full HD Plus panel, Super AMOLED at that. Good brightness, vivid colors, deep blacks, DC dimming for those low light situations. You can watch shows from Amazon Prime Video in Full HD, so Widevine L1 as well. But come on. The Note 10 Pro Max comes with a bigger, brighter Super AMOLED panel, the cherry on top being the 120Hz refresh rate. It seems like Realme's decision to reuse the same panel from the 7 Pro backfired royally, as Redmi have left them in the dust here. Kinda got the same feeling about the processor as well. The 720G is a good performer, no doubt, but while the competition has jumped to 732G, the Realme 8 Pro is still stuck with what it had last year. I mean, sure, it runs Realme UI well, but expecting a 60Hz panel with a 720G to match up to that of a 120Hz panel with 732G, that just can't happen, right? To be fair, enabling smooth scrolling from inside of Realme Labs does give the UI a speed boost. In fact, I've been saying this for a while. If you own a Realme device, then turn this feature on right now. Even then, I kind of felt like Realme has dropped the ball here. The 180Hz touch response rate is nice, makes for a better gaming experience. But we have to look at what the competition is bringing to the table also, right? And there's no doubt that Call of Duty Mobile dropped lesser frames and played smoother on the Note 10 Pro Max. One thing where the Realme 8 Pro does get a leg up though is internal storage. 128 gigs of UFS 2.1 is standard here, along with 6 or 8 gigs of LPDDR4X RAM. As always, there's a dedicated microSD card slot accompanying the dual SIM slot. Unfortunately though, moving on from there, it doesn't get much better for Realme. The battery capacity here is the same as last year, so 4500 mAh. But the charging speeds, they've actually gone down from 65 watts to 50 watts. Yeah, so last year's 7 Pro could do 0 to 100 in 34 minutes. This time it takes around 47 minutes. I mean, Realme still bundles the 65 watt charger in the box, but to what end? I really don't know. Of course, the Note 10 Pro Max lasted longer. 520 mAh of extra capacity is no joke. But if you're someone who charges at the end of the day, then the Realme 8 Pro wouldn't disappoint you either. One thing that I really appreciated is the slower charging cycles when the phone detected that it was being plugged in for the night. On my unit, it would trigger somewhere around 12 AM at night and would have it charged up to 100% by 6 AM. Basically, that meant I would start every day with a fully charged phone. Now, with all these debates going around about faster charging versus battery health, I'm glad that Realme has given us the option for both here. And that's the thing. I really like Realme UI. In fact, it has fast become one of my top favorite custom UIs out there. It's simple, almost stock Android, but then we have tons of customization on top. There's game space, the floating multitasking bar, screen off gestures, and a whole lot more. And before anyone asks, yes, this is Realme UI 2.0 based off of Android 11. The ad situation in Realme UI, that's remained the same. So that's not gonna be a deciding factor between Realme UI and MIUI. What could be a deciding factor though is the extra bits and bobs. Headphone jacks haven't yet become a rarity, at least in this segment. And we also have access to Realme's signature dual mode audio. The 8 Pro comes with high-res audio certification. There's even an option for low latency in-ear monitoring. Realme also takes advantage of the AMOLED display by hiding the fingerprint scanner under it. It may not be as snappy as the side-mounted one on the Note 10 Pro Max, but it is really cool. The Note 10 Pro Max though feels like a phone that's geared more towards functionality. We have an IR blaster as well as IP53 rating, both of which are missing on the Realme 8 Pro. Now, in our last review, a lot of you guys wanted to know about the haptic situation. It's there on the Realme 8 Pro, but it's nothing special. Again, if you compare to the Note 10 Pro Max, it had a stronger vibration motor, but there it felt like one side of the keyboard vibrated more strongly than the other. Here, it is pretty much even. And of course, call quality. We tested out VoLTE as well as VO Wi-Fi. Both worked great. And the Bluetooth 5.0 connection was stable as well. And yes, there's no 5G. But honestly speaking, I won't really take 5G into consideration while buying a mid-range smartphone in 2021. So, thus far, the road has been quite tough for the Realme 8 Pro. But hey, maybe a change in personal will bring about the change in luck that this device needs. So here's over to my colleague Ananthan for the lowdown on the cameras.
Okay, let's talk about the cameras. Realme here is trying to go toe to toe with Redmi, at least on the hardware side of things. Let me explain. So yeah, we have the 108 megapixel Samsung HM2 sensor being paired with an f1.88 lens. We have seen quite a bit of what this sensor is capable of. And those strengths shine through here as well. Crisp photos, shallow depth of field, and an uncanny ability to pull out details even from shadow. Of course, switching over to 108 megapixels means we get obviously more details. But let me cut to the chase and show you guys what you want to see. Comparison with the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. As is obvious, Realme has gone for a warmer color tone. See the yellow sky? The Note 10 Pro Max opts for cooler tones and natural greens. Personally, I like how the Note 10 Pro Max handles colors. But yes, Realme has more details in the shadows, switching to the 108 megapixel, and honestly here I couldn't tell them apart. But be careful, the Realme 8 Pro does tend to overexpose the background, especially while shooting in bright sunlight. Now Realme has worked a lot on their night mode here, and to their credit some shots do come out sharper on the 8. But the fact that the exposure time is longer and there is no OIS means some come out a bit blurrier as well. And then there is this tint that you can notice here in the sky. It's present in more images actually, even after an update. As usual, we do have a Pro Night mode included as well. Last year, Realme introduced their Starry mode with their X3 Super Zoom. Now they claim to have an upgraded version of it inside the Realme 8 Pro. Moving on from the main shooters to the ultra wides, pictures from the 8 Pro tend to have this saturated look to them, but in some instances like this one, it comes off as unnatural. The Note 10 Pro Max has a more restrained approach. Now I know we generally discount these macro and depth sensors because let's face it, these 2 megapixel snappers, they are here so that the Realme 8 Pro's camera bump looks more like a proper stove. Okay, jokes apart, these are run of the mill and the Note 10 Pro actually does way better on the macro department. Selfies from this 16 megapixel camera turned out good. There was none of this weird skin tone shifting like we had seen in the Note 10 Pro Max. I was impressed that even under bright light, the Realme 8 Pro managed to get the face exposed properly without blowing out the background. And the portraits were also half decent. The same color palette spills onto the video side of things as well. We can shoot at 4K 30fps, sharp footage that's a tad shaky. Realme's Ultra Steady mode kicks in once we lower the resolution down to Full HD. There is also a lot of interesting video modes to play around with. Most of you would have no problems recognizing the portrait video mode as well as AI highlight video. But AI mixed video struck me as something new. This allows us to replace background of a subject in portrait video mode. What's more, we can shoot the current scenery or choose any video from our gallery. It's a nice concept even if the execution is a bit janky. So overall, I think the video capture capabilities are similar across the board, but I feel like the Realme 8 Pro offers more features, if you could say that, than the Note 10 Pro Max. So that's all about the cameras. Over to you, Amatha.
So let me wrap this one up with a quick overview of the Realme 8 Pro. Build. Unique design, comfortable to hold, but it's plastic. Display. AMOLED, but again, only 60Hz. Performance. Average, since it's the same as last year. Battery life, again, average. Charging. Good. Would have actually been excellent had it not been for the generational downgrade. Software. Clean, colorful, but then there are ads. And finally, cameras. Great features backed by some really capable hardware. As you guys can see, the Realme 8 Pro, it's not a bad phone. Far from it, in fact. But the fact remains that Redmi has done so well with the Note 10 Pro and the Pro Max that it becomes difficult to suggest this or any other phone to someone who's looking to buy a device in the 16K or above price range. Now, where am I getting that pricing from? Of course, I have nothing else to base it other than Realme 7 Pro that was launched last year for somewhere around 20,000 rupees. Why? Well, that's because as of filming this video, I have no official confirmation of the price. But guys, once I do, I'll definitely let you know by updating it in the description as well as leaving it in a pinned comment down below. So here's my final verdict on the Realme 8 Pro. If it launches at 14,000 rupees or lesser, it's an amazing buy. From 14 to 18,000 rupees, it's still viable provided that you really like the unique design, the compact size, the faster charging and that 108 megapixel camera. But at 19,000 rupees or higher, it's a no-go. Well, that's been my 2 cents on the Realme 8 Pro. Now I wanna know what you guys think. So do let me know in the comments down below. As always, like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching till the end, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.